Sounds like a nice uniform. Oh, it's short.
This is pretty nice.
As far as cliches go, the one about football bringing people together couldn't have been more appropriate for Paris and Keith. If it had not been for this simple game, two people would have been denied the second chance at love. Because you see, these two divorcee sons played on the same team, and it was here on the gridiron they built their family.
I come from parents that were divorced when, I was younger, and then, coming into this family, Lindsay's parents, they're divorced as well, and, there's really not any kind of divide whatsoever from, either side of the family, and, it's, like Lindsay's stepmom treats her just as, just the same as her own daughters, which are her half-sisters.
I met Daddy on the football field. I was taking Jamie to his first day of Pop Warner, and we were signing the book, and he saw me sign my name. He's like, Vosburg, who's Vosburg? And I said, that's us.
Okay, so like I said, it was all through Pop Warner football. My dad was the coach of the team that Jamie, Paris' son, and my brother played on. So it was the very first day of practice. I remember this guy that she knew, and he went right up to her and asked her out on a date, and he was not very good looking. I know she didn't want to go, but she was like, yeah, sure, I'll go. And I remember saying, Dad, oh my gosh, I knew my dad had thought she was pretty, and he did end up asking her out later on, but I'll never forget asking her later on after I got to know her, why did you say yes to that guy? I know you didn't like him. She's like, I was just trying to get your dad's attention. I was like, did you ever go on the date with that guy? And she's like, no.
Like I said before, I was a Pop Warner football coach, and they nicknamed me Flash. They nicknamed me Flash because after practice, the other coaches would turn and say, Keith, what'd you think about that? And they couldn't find me. They'd look up, and I'd be following Paris out of the practice facility, chasing her to wherever we were going. So they nicknamed me Flash, going in a flash.
They met in August, and they were married, 3-4 months later, so that was quick. The wedding happened, and I went from just me and Mom to basically a family of 5. So it was all very quick, and everything changed in my life pretty quick, but it was very exciting. I met Keith first. I met him at football practice. I remember we had a football catch with the Carolina Panthers football, and he was one of the first kids I met at football practice. Started as a friendship, and from there grew to a brother-sister bond.
When they first got married, because they didn't know each other that well, there was a lot of arguments and disagreements, but as the years went on, things got better.
Yeah, everything was real smooth. The kids all got along great, and her and I, it was, right away. I knew she was the one for me.
Beginning, once they got married, we kind of made a pact that we would never use step. We were one family. So right away, Dad would say Jamie was his son. He had 2 sons. He didn't treat Jamie any differently than Keith. Right away, Paris called me her daughter. Still to this day, she introduces me to people as her daughter.
I never referred to Keith as a stepbrother, Lindsay as a stepsister, or Keith as a stepfather. For a few reasons, I guess it never felt that way. As soon as Mom and Keith started even dating before marriage, Keith, he treated me like a son. It was never an awkward relationship at all. He basically filled the role of a father figure to me. And then with Keith and Lindsay, I never had siblings before that, so I didn't really know how it worked as far as referral, stepsister, stepbrother. We were a very close-knit family, so it didn't feel like it was anything other than that. So that's why I never referred to him as a stepfather, or Lindsay as a stepsister, or Keith as a stepbrother. We were very close, and it felt like a normal, it was a real family experience.
We were on the same page when it came to using the word step. We both were in agreement right from day one that that wasn't necessary.
And I will say one thing about the 2 boys growing up. They were pretty close in age, and they actually had a better relationship than real brothers because they didn't fight as much as real brothers. They did fight, but not as much as real brothers did, and they always stuck by one another's side, and to this day, they introduce themselves as brothers.
And as far as Keith, I'm really close with Keith. Keith and I are very close. As a matter of fact, just today I was cleaning out my drawer, and he's a Marine. And when I have saved the letters that he had sent to me. He addressed them right to me directly. And I saved them, and I was reading him today, and he was like thanking me. And when it came to certain things, he knew that he could count on me to straighten things out. And he was just very. It made me cry because even to this day, I know that Keith really, really loves me, and I really love him. Yeah, we're very close.
I always thought it was really nice that Jay's family didn't refer to each other as stepbrothers, stepsisters, half siblings, nothing, because everybody's really close. He always felt like Keith was his brother for sure. I think it's really nice that with everybody all over the country, and Keith's in California and Sissy's in South Carolina, it's really nice how close everybody is. I mean, we have group text messages all the time. There's always jokes and messages going back and forth, and I think it's really nice to be so far apart. Sometimes we don't see each other for a long time, but we're definitely really close.
I'm really close with my older sister, Lindsay. I feel like me and her are the most alike actually, I'm a lot like my brother Keith, too. Me and Jamie have a love-hate relationship.
So when I came home for Christmas break one time, I met Jamie's high school girlfriend, Maggie, for the first time at our grandmother's house. She was really quiet and really sweet, and they actually stayed together all those years. Keith never had a high school sweetheart, but later on, after he finished the Marines, he started dating a girl named Juliet, who I actually met for the first several times through just FaceTime. We didn't meet face-to-face till just about a year ago at Jamie's wedding. They had chores, and one had to mow the front of the house and one had to mow the yard in the back. And I thought they were outside mowing the yard, and I was doing dishes, and as I look outside, I saw Keith zooming by on the lawnmower and Jamie racing him on this little tiny moped trying to go down the driveway.
One time Keith was back from boot camp or something, and I told him it wasn't his house anymore, and he pinned me up against the wall and like shook me, and then I had to say it was his house still.
And how was it when you met Savvy and Allie?
I did a lot of playing. I did a lot of cheerleading, which I did not want to do, but I did it anyways.
Like how? Like cheerleading? Like what? Like what you do?
I did a lot of, throwing, catching, to kind of fit in and get them on my good side, and it was really easy just because I was willing to kind of play along.
Across the pool.
Exactly. And have everyone think I was a cheerleader.
So a funny story. I have a lot of different ways I can go on this, but one of the ones that sticks out most is when Keith and I were probably 12 years old. We were playing wiffle ball in the backyard, playing sports in the backyard, and one day we decided to throw some smoke bombs, fireworks in the yard, which are traditionally harmless, except the one I threw, the packaging came off of it as I threw it, so the cardboard caught fire and it hit our high grass in the backyard and erupted in flames. And Keith and I basically put out this enormous fire, which was probably 20 or 30 feet away from actually becoming like a serious forest fire if it would have made its way down to the trees. So I remember running up back and forth from the house, filling up buckets of water and just throwing it on the fire. And as our neighbors just watched from their deck, didn't offer to help, so me and Keith running around like lunatics putting out this could-be forest fire. We called the fire department. They showed up just as we actually put the fire out. So a harmless day of just playing with some small little fireworks turned into what could have been a devastating forest fire. And to this day, it's one of the funniest stories that Keith and I have.
What?
You think you're famous?
I know I am. I mean, it's completely normal.
Are you ready? A funny memory with the family, particularly at a Jet game on Thanksgiving.
It was at the new stadium, and the Jets were playing the Pats, and we didn't end up winning the game. The Bengals. That's right. Another game. Cut.
Does Jamie know he has to do this? Jamie's gonna flip this. He's not gonna do it.
Is Jay gonna do this?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
Does he know?
What'd you guys?
Take two.
I don't like this at all.
Okay.
Just for the record.
Yeah.
I am. This isn't sports related.
Kind of is, actually.
It is about the Jets.
No, I mean if we're talking about like the matchup for Sunday, I got it.
Oh yeah, Clemson versus Bama.
All right, go ahead.
You know they're gonna be watching this like at the end of the year, so they will know who won Clemson and Alabama, but we don't know right now. That's weird, right? So Brady, have you ever seen Mimi snore or heard of her snore?
I heard her snore. I seen her snore. Snores very loud. Very loud.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had to. Keith turned her down. I mean, jeez.
Keith did?
Yeah.
Well, then why am I stuck doing it?
Because you're gonna be sportive.
Put the camera on.